Today's lesson, creating the plan, flag, wedge, and U-shaped breakout patterns. So let's get into it. Where to buy, where to sell, where your stop loss is at. Now your first example, and I kind of went over this one earlier. I love it. Creates 4 essentially, and really 5-ish flags in a row. Now I've kind of highlighted 3. This could have been a bull flag, could have had a flag right here as well. And again, what you're going to do, like you could have done on this one, and I showed you on these, you're going to essentially put, and I've done with stocks earlier today, you're going to put your lines in wherever your support line at the bottom is and where your resistance line is at the top. And 9 times out of 10, when it's hot, like you've seen today, when these flags create, what you're going to do is, and you're just waiting on, you're buying at the break of what? The top of the flag, or you're shorting at the crack of the bottom of support. Knowing that either way, that's what you're waiting on. And a lot of the times people ask, well, how do you know? A lot of times you don't know. Again, it's hard to determine. You're just waiting. Again, the term stock sniping. You're just being a stock sniper, being patient, waiting for this play to come to you. Could a perfect line in right down here. You're in right here, up to the VWAP, up to new high of day. You're out in this area. So that's why, like the first one I showed you earlier. I didn't put a line in, but again, I could have right here. Look at this line. You're in right around this area. Up through the VWAP. Take some there if you want. You're out for sure a lot, and I would, you know me, like I said, safe trader. I'm out most right here for sure. Upper shadows. Give me the high of day area. I'm good. If this was your entry right around this area, your stop loss is nice and tight because you're only wanting about 20, 15, 20 cents, whatever this is. So right here, if your entry was right here at the break of what? Essentially a downtrend, but it's the break out of this beautiful flag, bull flag. You're in right around this area. The stop loss is right here. Old halt up where it did kind of bounce. That's your area. That is your area to get in. Now, the other safe areas to get in on these, which we're going to keep going over these every time it breaks out, right? That's your entry. That's your entry. Working up to new high of day area, up to any new, I can't tell you specific areas where every trader should scale out. I'll list mine or say, hey, these areas I'm thinking where it's going to see resistance. So that's where you should. I can't show you and say, oh, this is going to, I'm not Thanos. I don't know. A lot of the time, these are going to run up to, say, 260 when we're down here in the 180s. Again, or 150s. Take your profit as it goes up. Keep buying in and out. You could have traded this 3 or 4 times and had beautiful profit, essentially almost being in from the get-go. You're getting kind of the same profit. You're just taking in chunks on the way up. It's hard to get in on a move low, and trust me, and ride it miles up. But the main entry here, again, besides which we'll get into, then just to make it a little, and again, just to show you, purely what a bull flag is. Bull flags kind of tend to go down. Right? You have this is to me a pennant flag. It's so goofy they put asymmetrical, whatever, but you get my point. The flag with more of a horizontal, go straight out, not downward flag, kind of going out to the side, right? And then you have your more of an ascending triangle right here. So this had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them. 5 flags. And again, where to get in on these? Still why I did not highlight this beautiful bottom one here. But again, right at the break of this is your entry area, right in here, up to new high of day, or high of day test really at the time. Same with this one. Break of the wedge. Don't worry that high of day kind of tests that area. It'll kind of test and will show you a little bit of resistance, right? But that's fine because you're breaking out of this trend. Look at this. 5, 6 candles later, you're up rocking and rolling, right? Same here. Again, you get 3 candles up through to new high of day. Those are your areas to buy. The break of these wedges. Like Mel did earlier. That was another great example. I forgot to spend a couple hours now, but remember Mel earlier with IHT. That huge wedge that was formed all day. And then at that time, waiting for it to squeeze, popped out of that little downtrend, the bottom part, or the top part of the triangle, the wedge, whatever you want to call it, the flag, the top of it, when you squeeze and push out of it, that's your buy to push into new high of day. A lot of the time, we're, of course, maybe test old high of day. Other safe buy areas where I finally traded this, if you want to, and you start liking ways, plays to come back to you. Your flags form. This is Voltron, loving it. I think Voltron is kind of what he does anyway. Remember he said something about after the flag and comes in, comes in on a little bit of a pullback, and that's what he's, me. Same thing a lot of time. Let the flag form and then wait for a support area where I waited this all the way up to here. I didn't trade this to this flag. And then I said, okay, old resistance equals new support about the 210 area. Form my new flag, please pop when it popped up the new high of day because I almost bought here on this dip, and I should have, because this would have been a good example even where you could have bought, and this was a straight surge right up to test and even go past high of day at the time. Was this candle right here at the break of it? Look at this, I could have bought right here, whammy. Trust me, I was so frustrated, yelling, doing the deck thing, yelling, talking in different voices, all the stuff we do. Anywho, so right here's where I got in. This candle pullback, old resistance equals new support. Flag was formed. Give me finally my nice good pullback off of it. And I was out some here. Finally when it broke to what? This is the key area I was trying to get to. And even here, where's your stop loss at? If you're in at 210, you have to have minimal stop loss if you want to. Super safe trader, $2. Super risky trader, the lowest you can go is down here to this 190 VWAP area. And that's kind of where I may have held on to, just being it was, at that during a hot time. Last April was hot. This was a hot play. As you can see, I mean, this was, last April 29th. This, like I said, this is the one that ended up going later in the day up to $5 in after hours, or right around a, power hour in after hours. So you see these plays, they're worthy of what? Buying at the break of this flag, break of the flag, break of the flag, break of the flag for the surge up, any of these, or find your bounces within the flag. Sell at the top of the flag if you just, if you have that amount of trades. Maybe if you're looking for if you're maximizing your trades, that's the one thing I would buy break of the flags. If you want to scalp all day and add to your gains, get in here on some of these pullbacks, to old resistance equals new support, bottom. Okay, it may be because sometimes these are shorter flags. We have flags that last 20, 30 minutes sometimes, by like our IHT literally earlier, right? By the bottom of those flags, like I did here, the good support area. One thing I want you to notice, team, as well, on these plays, on those surges, on those flags, the poles, that we're talking about, mostly on the poles. Flags will lose volume, but look on the poles, when on the breakouts, a massive amount of volume that comes in on them. The poles, look, the volume on this pole, volume on this pole, volume on this pole, huge volume. Will sometimes die off in these wedges. Don't worry about that. Put your lines in, either buy your bounces, or wait for this to purely break out of a wedge. And I know it's going to run in, like I said, that's where you can take a lot of your profit off the plate. That's fine. Eventually, when you have bigger shares, more trades, so on and so forth, hold longer, add more, get in bigger. But right here, look at the break out of this flag, straight up to not only test new, high of day area that it was, but create a new high of day. Notice the volume. Wedges again. Just put your lines in. Find where it's sometimes, which the next one's a little bit can show you the price range, but this moved dollars. So these moves, this is close to a dollar move every time. This is, I think, $1. This is every dotted line. So this is see 17, 18, that or it's 2. Regardless, look at the move in the surge. I know it doesn't seem like much because you're right into and testing old high day and then creating a new flag, but just put your lines in, wait for the true pop of it. Again, what do you notice here, team? That I was just talking about the trend line cracks. Well, yeah, those upper shadows. Wait for your full body candle to be outside of it. It's like you're having an outer body experience, or whatever. You're having an outer body experience out of the triangle. You're rocking and rolling. Outer body experience, out of the trend. You're outside of that trend line, said trend line, or the VWAP, right? You're below it. It's the wicks that's all you're worried about. That's fine. But when you see full body out, now your eyes need to be glowing, going, yes, you're outside of it, right? That's when you know you're good to go. Like a lot of these. I mean, look at the bodies when the full body is outside of it. The full body is outside of it. Not just a wick. Look how much of the body is outside of it. Body is outside of it. Body is outside of it. Let's get back. I forgot. Let's go to, can I actually put in like, say, 60%? There we go. That makes it a little better. Let's go to 62. So I can see what the best is going to be here. 65. We'll go 64. Hey, like Nintendo 64. How about that? Anyway, so 64. Now we can see a little better now. We see the price range. But look at these pops out. I mean, this pop, like I said, was going over earlier. Just say if this was the 650, 675 mark. I mean, you're immediately up to $8 plus within 2-3 candles. The pop of this one huge candle. And it's like I said earlier, $9-ish. Immediately up to almost 11. I mean, crazy move there. At least up to 10, because this is 12, so that's close in between the two. So it's close to $11 and 9 to 11. Whammy. I mean, boom, out of this candle. And I know, again, you're kind of maybe, if you're worried, I don't know, again, I understand the whole, well, the old high day resistance, right? And that's fine. You got to realize, too, on some of these moves, what they're going to be. I mean, you don't want to move from 6, say, like I said, what's the 650 mark? Yeah, probably about the 650, 675 mark up to 8. You don't want a $1 plus move? I'll take that any day. You don't want to, again, even if it was just up to 10, you don't want to, a $9 move up to 10, 20, 10, or whatever this is. You know, just know that and go, okay, cool. Like this here, it did run into for a little bit, right? A little bit of resistance there actually showed up, and sometimes it does. It doesn't, you know, shoot right past it like this one kind of shot past it, right? Then finally came back to it as support. Old resistance equals new support. Sometimes it'll run up to it and kind of get close to it. Sometimes it'll, you know, like these two really are kind of close to not fully getting over, you know, but still look at the move from the down, from the little, essentially just called a downtrend break, the wedge flag break. You're getting great moves. And that's your entries. Again, we'll just kind of go through these again, like just say this entry. So you want your entry here at the VWAP. Your entries here at, say, again, we'll call it, we'll just call it, like I said, 675. That's 675. Your stop loss, to me, if this is your entry for a move up, needs to be kind of like the bottom of these candles, which it's hard to tell at that time, but it's probably around the 650. It's definitely below where this is. You know, that little lower shadow where this all kind of meets, upper shadow, close of that candle, where the close of this body is, these lower shadows, just put a line in all the way across about right there, right? That would be your stop. That's what I would consider my stop loss. And then your targets, of course, anywhere up into these upper shadows. If you hold till a new high of day, kudos, my friend. Congrats. You've done amazing. You have beat the odds. You have beaten most. Trust me. Understand that. Again, you want to do a bounce. You get just say you don't get filled perfectly there, but you get good close enough. Just say you just pull the trigger and you didn't get filled fully on this line. Say 8, whatever you want to call it, 810. We'll just call it 810. You get filled at 825. Not only straight back up, but then where's your target? Right back up to, if you get it, great. 875 would be perfect, right? But then, because it's a little bit of resistance there, but then right back up into this old high of day. That's your target, true target. Stop loss. At worst, VWAP, right? At worst, this VWAP area. But I'd probably go even a little higher than that, like maybe somewhere in this upper shadow city, right above the VWAP. Maybe give it close, I guess, maybe close to the VWAP, a little bit above it. You know, say, what's that? Probably 50 cents versus you're going to get well more than $1 move out of that. Again, take your odds, take what you're in. Say, and then maybe this wedge is a lot smaller, right? So say your bounce here is at, say, we'll call this 975. We'll just call 975 this support area. You know, where the wedge is being built. See the drop here, the drop there. So you finally get on maybe one of these here. Early on, that's, you're a little bit more risky biscuits. It's an early on flag. Truly here, it's formed. Right around in here, these candles, you should have it in. So you caught that bounce with this bounce. You know you're going to have, that's the only thing, because it's a shorter candle. These aren't bouncing that well, but it'd be great because it gives you more room, right? You want this much room for those bounces. Not much room here, right? So a little more risky biscuits for those bounces. You want something like this, more room, right? More room. You don't unfortunately get it here, but that's what you're looking for in those bounces. And again, just as you see these wedges, put the lines in. They could be smaller. I mean, these are only, again, in the end, about 50 cents. Each one of these, 50-cent wedge. That's fine. So, the breakout usually a lot of the time is going to be that same area, around 50 cents. 50-cent wedge, you break out of it sometimes. You get a wedge of 625, you're up to, what, 675, right? So, literally about a 50-cent move, 50-cent wedge. From $6.50 to about $7, that's your wedge. You break out about $6.75, you get moved up to about $7.25. Close to that, close to that-ish, $6.65, whatever that is, close to 50 cents. So take that for granted to always kind of put those numbers in your head and realize what a stock moves, what their pullbacks are. That's traditionally what you're going to see. You see two pullbacks at 50 cents. It spikes, and then a pullback 50 cents. Then it spikes, pullback 50 cents. Go, hey man, this starts spiking up again. Traditionally a pullback probably be close to about 50 cents. So, keep those numbers in mind. Again, say if you want your breakout. You want the 620, you want around whatever this is, 625, 630. Up to what? 650 is fine. New high of day though too is great, right? So take your 25 to 50 cent move, and again, the bottom of this fly, and this, being that it's kind of nice and tight, that has to be your stop loss. These upper shadows, where your line is, where that has to be in as your flag. Same here. You want the 675 break up to 7 plus, or high of day at 7. Where's your stop loss at? Right around that 6.4, whatever the bottom of this line is. That's your stop loss. Targets new high of day, or old high of day area plus making a new high of day. ABI, I just love last year. So this is last May. Just hot. I'm just going crazy over here. Another great little move. More of and it's kind of hard to tell. Definitely a flag, right? Because you can see it but there's just kind of more of a very wicky play. One of the ones I'm kind of scared, a little bit scared from. Just up and down. But one of those ones where you can get bounces. You see the bottom of the flag being formed kind of. kind of straight across traditional flags, I guess we see. Most really flags we do see, they're not really not the little angled ones we see. When we see people flying flags or what, they look like this. Nice, they're all rectangled usually. So we have this up and down movement. So we have the base right here. We can get bounce plays in. And then we have the tops where we need to start taking some off the plate. Where a lot of traders are scalping this. Kind of right around in here as they realize that, hey, we're in this channel essentially, right? Essentially, it's kind of what's forming off of this pole, so a flag. So you wait for it to break out of it fully. Look at the pole. I should say not upper shadows. Look at the first body, the body out of it. You're good. Body, yada, yada, yada. Good, right? You got that body. The body is outside. You're having an outer body experience of the flag. Time to rock and roll. Your next leg up. That's your next leg up, your pole, whatever you want to call it. Your next pole up. Bounce plays. Again, get your bounce plays. Wait for this to break out of it. Those are your buys. That's where you buy, team. That is where you buy for flag breakouts. Again, look where you put your line in. First full body, yada, 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 out of it. Even if you're filled here at 12:15, 12:20, 12:30. Let's even say 12:25. You get a bad fill. 12:25, you hesitated. Oh, the body's outside of it. I need to pull the trigger now. Here it goes. The body is fully outside of it. I need to get in this before it really takes off. Because, of course, you can see it afterward, but it's like hard to sometimes, because it could form a little bit of an upper shadow, but it's when you really see the full body, because this you will tell it's more of an upper shadow, where we just saw a second ago when I showed you, for example, when we were watching RHE, right? And that body was outside of it already. That's where I'm telling you. That's when you need to pull the trigger. But still, if you got 12:25, 12:30 fill, you don't want to, you hesitated really long, 12:40 fill. This is up to 13th, almost $5 dollar move. It's okay to hesitate sometimes, team. Look, body, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, look at that beautiful move. Same thing here if you hesitate. And if, say, in at 11:50, this is straight up into a halt. So, again, take these, again, kind of with a grain of salt, but then understanding, it's kind of that simple. I know it's just wait for these things to wait. Just wait. Get your bounce plays on the lower shadows if you do get those. Sometimes the bodies will come down to it, the body of the candle. A lot of the time it's just this though in hotter plays. It's just a lower shadow. Traders, wanting and keeping it up, trying to keep it up. So the safe area, just wait for that full body of the candle to go outside of the wedge. CEI, and it happens again. I'm going to just kind of show different plays. It doesn't matter how expensive, how cheap, how slow they move like this, a little bit slower play. This play only was like the wedge here from 180 area. That's actually just below 2. So this is $2 area, and it only spikes up to 3. So, not a crazy, decent move, but nothing crazy. It did come up from 127, but in the end, when you just look from where it opened and this flag and where it broke to, nothing too crazy, right? So it's going to happen, whether they're slower movers, it's slower time period, it's a faster time period. You see $1, $2, $3 spikes out of those wedges. You see just 20, 30 cents sometimes out of those wedges. You see more hesitation, not full clear breaks out of like this. This isn't as pretty, right? That full body isn't out of it until probably 2 or 3 candles in. But do notice, though, when we break out of these, how much room you do still have to run, even if you do get a bad fill. Let's get over to the next one, though. I want to go over to U-shaped breakouts. Another one that's kind of hard to determine where to buy at times. The best time and the only time we really see these for the most part are when stocks are hot. You see a hot play that has a nice pre-market spike or even a pre-market spike that leads to a spike at the opening bell, which this one isn't that. It has a pre-market spike, but sometimes it's both. It's pre-market and into the market, and then we give back gains. But that's the main thing, is the fact that we have a spike that gives back gains, thus creating a U, right? You have to kind of come down and create a U. So you're having a spike, and then you're creating a U shape. Now, this is one of those ones that had like a double U shape, right? Had really, in the end, kind of a quadruple U shape. Had 2 W's that were just wonky. One going down, one that goes up. And if you can see what I'm saying, if you can notice it, W, W. So you see the first W. Here it is. There's the first U, the second part of the U. The first U, the second part of the U. And really, there was a small little attempt right here. Look at that little fish hook that was a part early in the end of one big U shape. Now, where to buy on these U-shaped breakouts? And the first thing, again, like with the breakouts of flags or wedge patterns, notice, team, the volume. That's A. That's A1A. One thing I want you to notice when these things come in, that shoots up with it. Now, it's hard to, at the time, you're not like you're looking just straight at the volume. You do, though, notice. Like me, I can notice the time and sales on Thinkorswim just go bananas. I do notice the huge candle below it on Thinkorswim like this because I have changed. This is an older screenshot, when I had it just all blue, but now I've turned it towards the red and green. So when you see that green just going woof, flying up, good indicator. The main thing is also usually you're breaking above what? A resistance area. And I like VWAPs to name the main one. When you see a U-shaped breakout over a key resistance area, whether it's the open of the day, a moving average, VWAP, there's multiple areas that you can U-shape over, and that thus then bring, when you crack, or I should say break through that area, what happens? Volume surge, buying surge. You're going to see fails, right? But the main thing again on these, you see the first full candle outside. See, these candles are at under. This candle starts, it's under. It's not over. This candle barely starts under it and immediately is exceeding over it. Do you see the kind of the difference between the two? And when you see fails, you're going to see candles that look like this. And again, I guess we could do a candle. I guess I need to do a candle that would be probably good. I just notice them. I don't really think about it anymore. But just noticing that's not that fail. It's gonna fail. This get in now. It's going right. So notice the two there. Wanted to bring that up. But then the volume. You know the volume difference. There's I'm looking at that over like Sean, you got a okay? That's a cool car. My car fly. Not just, you know what I'm saying. But you get my point. But you get my point. Like, oh, that's cool and all. But this is, look at that. I mean, look at this. This true right here. It's because it's this candle going down. Obviously, even this one. But look at this candle, the one where it truly breaks. Look at it's double this candle, right? Close to. That was the biggest of the day so far, and it would have been a red candle because of all the selling. So the breakover, where to buy? You're noticing the volume. You're noticing this is, it's building up like last time, but this time the body is actually starting super close to the key resistance area to U-shape over, which I'll never forget. I could have pulled my alerts up. I love this. This is one of my great alerts from last year. Wait for this to break over what? The VWAP. U-shape break over the VWAP. You know, kept alerting that. Wait for this, the U-shape break to the VWAP. 875 also was in that same area. Oh, didn't zoom out far enough on this, unfortunately on this one. But 875 was that area too. This is 875. I'm almost 1,000% positive. So that was the two key areas that we needed to break over. Kind of close to 875. It may have been one of the next ones that I look at, but I thought it was this one. Regardless, it was the main thing, obviously, you see the VWAP. But when you have one, you have two areas. Sometimes it's the open with it. Sometimes it could have been the V. I know one of them is the VWAP in 875. But then you get the volume, the candle's kind of surging in on it, and it is the fully breaking over it, not opening below it and then kind of trying to shoot over it. It's opening almost essentially on it and going over. That's your buy area. Again, even if you got a bad feel, say if this we'll just hypothetically say this is close to 870. You know, this is 850. This is close to 875. This is 9. Your area, once you get in over 875 over it, and say this is obviously that couldn't be 875, that's more like 865-ish or so. You're in at 875. You got a bad feel. Maybe you wanted for 875 to break fully because you saw maybe this happening, just maybe to you. You just see maybe it happening to you because you don't want it to fail. You're in at 880. Okay, so you're in at 880 right here at the open to this candle. You've missed 15 cents or so. It doesn't matter. Look at the nice still surge you get off of it, right? Even if you held, which you should have, your stop loss could have been the VWAP if you're in at 980. This is what I wait for a lot of the time now, team, is not buying at the breakout, showing me you have the hot fire, and will quick pull back to the VWAP. I like nice, good, solid spikes well over them, not just barely over them. Like, say, if this would have been the spike, I am not buying the VWAP pullback. I need this to fully spike, a nice, good spike over the VWAP. Then I want to get in. Now, again, this would have been another probably area if I had the deck kind of fun where I'm trading, which I'm silently, obviously now it's finally getting there, where I can trade all the time over the PDT. I probably would have taken another trade right there, but immediately would have gotten out because you can see quick little pop, notice that upper shadow, probably taking some off the plate just to kind of limit what loss was probably I could feel coming, and then as soon as it started cracking back down, just gotten out. But again, that's what I like to see. I love these overextend, you shape off, the VWAP, you break through it. Give me one good bounce. Show me how the hot fire, the mob, move in. It's one of like lately I've been like, and I'm trying, I guess one of the new things I'm trying to do to you guys. Like, hey guys, this is the time to trade. If you want to pull the trigger, this is the time to do it. It's now the hot fire. The volume is here. The mob is now here. This is the time to get in. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Once you have the full candle volume over the resistance area, the VWAP said in this point, could be 875 too, say if that was there, that's your key area to get in. Boom, you're in once that full candle's over. Again, sometimes you're going to have a little bit of a bad feel. That's fine. These things don't, and of course, you feel like they take off without you. They don't just shoot dollars and seconds. I know some do, but most don't. You usually have enough time to kind of get in these still and get a little bit of a profit, even if you hesitate and maybe get a bad fill. It's the next U-shape example. Sometimes U-shapes aren't freaking $3-4 deep, or these massive canyons. Sometimes we're just these little small guys and just barely go below resistance. Again, volume coming in, we get the first full candle over, and it kind of just like the last one. Does this not look just like what I just showed you? Candle going up to it, upper shadow hitting, wait for this candle to open right around it, if not above it, if not below it, somewhere in that area, shoots up. And this one actually, in 2 cases in a row, same exact example. We spike up to it. This upper shadow actually goes a little bit above it with the body hitting the VWAP, but essentially, though, just like the last one, this one opens just below the VWAP, but perfect. I mean, just below. I mean, we're not talking, again, way down here. We're not talking like this example where we fell, we're, a good 10, 15, 20 cents or however many, at least 10 to 15 below the said VWAP, right? We're opening a cent to this, in this case, probably 3 or 4 at most below the VWAP. Again, whammy. Didn't quite get that cool little, pull back to the VWAP that I love. And then you can see this one just shot right up off of it, though. But that's what I'm looking for. This right here. If you don't get in here and you miss it, and that's fine, team. You miss it. Here's your second chance. This is kind of like, you're singing your song or singing a song to you, like, here's your second chance. It's like a ballad from the 80s, and you got the dun, 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 second chance. There's your second chance. Now, sometimes it doesn't come all the way down to it, right? Sometimes it's a tad below it, but that would be your second chance, and what I like to get into these plays. Again, another, U-shaped break of the VWAP. This one was the 875, close to that 875 area. There was a $9 area, though, too. Another one of those that was kind of close to the double eights. I think it was $9 where the VWAP was. But again, this one, not, and that's why I wanted to show you this one. Sometimes you're going to get that. But what the big thing is, this is your chance to now get in. This candle, that's your key indicator. We now, like a lot of those others, instead of failing because we open below, like a lot of these, we open and we fail because we like it to open, right? We like this candle, or I should say this candle, if we're going to break the VWAP, to really open kind of right around it. Instead of saying like, say 850, this opens up right around, that's where you get like the ones I just showed you, kind of like these candles. We're opening right around it and exploding through. But again, when we finally do move through, and your next said candle opens up above, this is your chance to get in. Again, who cares if you're in at, I'm not in at 9, no, I'm not in. If I'm not in at 909 or 901 or 902 at the VWAP break, I'm not in. It's just not a good entry anymore. Again, right here could have been at, say, 920, 930. Well, actually, this is that could be even probably actually close to about 940, 935-ish, 940 best entry probably case in that case. You don't want to move up through 10 from 930. You don't want a 70-cent move, 80 cent, and ends up being a $1 move plus. Okay, that's on you. Hey, you know what? That's you. That's all you. But you know what I mean? But again, take what the defense gives you. Sometimes it's not going to be right on the number. I had to learn that myself the hard way. You're not always going to get filled right where you want to. Sometimes you're going to have, like Deck, you're going to have to take those entries that aren't that great. Limit them though. Don't try to, don't be in up here at 10. That's not the year to get in here. This was the candle to get in here to the move to 10, right? We're a U shape fully above the VWAP now. This is your candle to get in, right? Don't get in here and then be sad. We totally understand why you'd be sad, unless you did hold long, which is fine, right? But don't be chasing here. This was your said candle to get in. So notice that on these. And again, a lot of the time when the hot fire's there, sometimes your bad fills will be fine if you did get in here, right? But this was your chance to get in. Now, hopefully that helps you out, And again, say like I didn't, I guess, really go over those. I did on a couple of them, but again, I'm using this like where you could just go over to like say my stop loss lesson, those lessons, and I didn't fully create the plan on a lot of these, but you're just using that. Like say again, U-shaped breakouts. So if I was in right here. Now right here is not the best entry. See, this is where I meant to show you this. So these candles right here, this is that, right? This is kind of usually shows you be careful. Be careful, and then as in the end doesn't hold it fully. These are the candles, and of course that's what I told you. Sometimes charts are kind of ugly. When you get fully above, rocking and rolling, then you're good. When you have a lot of hesitation right on it, right here, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row that just can't fully push. Some are on it, some are above it. You can get you a small little win. You can work yourself out a small win. These are the ones you're looking for, right? Where we're fully opening above it and fully escalating. Now, again, wherever your entry is here, you're always going down right below you, trying to find resistance, which was once support, and that's your new area of your stop loss. So again, like here, if I wanted this quick pullback, we'll just again say this is, again, hypothetically, we'll just call this 10, we'll call this 950, and we'll call this the $9, this is anyway. So this is like a 950 VWAP bounce, right? For my move up to what? Back up to the 10-15 area. If we can break it, great. Had trouble getting and staying over 10 earlier. And where's my stop loss? If my 950 entry, right back here, right through this little area where you can see this little corridor right there, that's going to be my stop loss. So probably the 925 area, right? So 25-cent stop loss for a 50-cent, maybe 75-cent gain. If I get more, I'm loving that, loving life. But always trying to keep that 2-to-1 ratio. You can see these upper shadows right here, kind of this little consolidation. If I could just put a line in like right there and go all the way across, kind of where the breakout was that I did miss, that area all the way. And you can see where it did try to hold up when we did crack back through this area. That's the area I would have stuck to. Go to this area. Say if you wanted to get in on this break, kind of the same area you could have got in, right around here on the full breakout, the bounces in the same area. So where's your stop loss? I'm going to go right back over here. Do you see where you had trouble? Right over the dotted line, whatever this round number was. We saw a little resistance there. Keep on going. Keep on going. You see what I'm saying? Right below the VWAP, right around like right here-ish. There's where that line could have been in. That's your overall stop loss. Got to be with your, overall goal of getting back to what? This area. So whatever this round number was that we could not get over and hold earlier, this is your goal. So entry area, goal, which you get, and more obviously, which is great. But as you can see, kind of ran to that area. Had a little bit of resistance right there for a second until we exploded for more. But again, stop loss right up here. Now, risky trader, hey, there's other traders that are going to be more risky. They're going to hold on longer. That's their risky biscuits. That's their prerogative. That's not me, team. I'm going to get in. I'm going to get in right here. Say, like I said earlier, it was like again, around that 950 area, right? I'm not holding on underneath this VWAP. Underneath the VWAP to $9, I'm out. Maybe 875 roll, but if you're in right here at the 9, right over the VWAP at 945, 935, you got to give yourself $9 max. For the move up to 10, so 25 to 35 cent stop loss for what? A 60 to 70 cent win. So try to keep that 2-to-1 ratio. It's not always right on just like entries. It's not always going to be right on the penny and perfect 2-to-1 ratio, but for your best abilities, try to keep it that way so you're not, again, bag holding down hundreds, down thousands. Oh, I was in it, I was one of the $13 break and I was in it, say this is 13. I was in at 13 for the break up and, of course, boom, and I'm still down, so don't do that. Don't find a stop loss area. If I have a plan, always have a plan. If you find a good plan, find a good strategy, and that's the reason you're winning, you just need to stick to it. Don't move away from it, but find that plan first. Don't just kind of jump into plays and then hope for the best and say, well, I hope it comes back up. I'm like, well, hope's, like the deck always says, hope's not the best plan to have, but if that's your strategy, then so be it. Yeah, hopefully that, Paula, since you asked for it, hopefully so you're still around. If not, I'll have that. It's definitely recorded, but hopefully that helps you out. Putting in, those, I shouldn't say putting in because they are you have to put them in to help. When it comes to the flags and the wedge breakouts, put those lines in. And when it comes to the U-shaped breakouts, just kind of find those areas and getting that first full body candle out of the U-shape over whatever resistance here you're looking at, whether it's a moving average, it's a VWAP, it's open. Same with the flags. Once you get that first full candle out of the flag, you're ready to rock and roll.